Hi, it's me, Debbie Hilly, and I need to put this on because I don't have my long cord with me today. So there we go. That's a little bit easier for you to understand. I want to talk today about table safety. A little light on the subject might help a little bit. There are many things in a shop that are dangerous for dogs, but tables are critically so. Now, we've already discussed in previous blog posts about loop safety. Did you know that your table plays a huge role in the safety of your dog as well? If you're using a folding table, under no circumstances should you ever walk away from your dog, ever. Now, it's not always a good idea to walk away from your dog even on a hydraulic or an electric table, but depending on the base, it can be a safer option if you had to, provided you follow my instructions. I'm not saying leave your dog unattended on the table, people. Common sense. Listen to the rest of what I have to say. Maybe you'll understand a little bit better by then. At any rate, tabletops are a certain size for a reason. They are a width for a reason. They are a thickness for a reason. I love my Ultralift tables, and I guess they're now owned by a different company. Hope they still go by Ultralift, because otherwise I don't know what to tell you. That's what I call them. One of the reasons I love them, they're incredibly stable. Look, in order to knock this over, I have to physically lift it up. If a dog is on my table, I can't put all of my force behind that arm and knock it over. I've had exactly one dog knock my table over in the 7 years I've had my tables, and that dog was a nut job. He had a rear loop on too. So he had double arms, rear loop, neck loop, and he swung so hard out that he managed to knock my table over. It was probably one of the last new large clients I've ever taken. And I don't do them anymore because, and by the way, I was standing at the corner of the table when it happened. He knocked it over. It hit my foot. I caught him midair, hurt my back. Nothing would have stopped that dog from knocking over a table. But in general, dogs can't knock over a heavy base table that's balanced properly. My tables are cantilever lift, which means that they have 2 lifts on either side, and they operate with a 2-point or 3-point lift system, depending on which table it is, and they lift up. Z-lifts are also fairly stable, but to me are not quite as stable. That's the lift that looks like this. Accordions come straight up and down and are incredibly stable. But you have to have a heavy base on the table, otherwise it doesn't matter. If you have one of the tables with a round base, you know they're inherently unstable because all of the weight is on the top. In these tables that I'm talking about, a good electric or a good hydraulic table, the weight's at the bottom. It's either going to be in the frame or on the base itself, and I will show you some pictures in the blog post later to explain what I mean by that. Anti-tipping is easy. You keep the dog on the table. Now, you know I like to work with either 2 arms or 2 loops at all times. Well, my little stiff poodle here doesn't need 2 because she's not going anywhere. Let me show you something about proper height of a loop. If I let her down and let this loop down, she can get to the edge of my table, fall off and hang herself. We don't want Fifi to do that. So, while she's in the middle of my table, lined up with my arm, and I don't know that you can see that from here, and I have no way to change it, but the loop extender, which you know I'm a huge fan of, comes straight down, and I always put the dog in line with that loop extender so that it's coming off the back of their necks. See? She has a problem with her neck. Don't tell her, she'll never know. Anyway, I like my loop to be at the point that their heads are up, but I can still get your ear out of the way. Still get my fingers down in there really easily. 2 fingers just like a collar. And then I'll lock it down up here. What that does, keeps her from getting to the edge of the table. She can't get to the edge of the table. Look, I'll show you again. That's as high as it'll go. She can't get to the edge of the table. She stops before she gets there. And no matter how she turns, she can't get to the edge of the table. She's stuck there. She cannot get to the edge. Now, if I have to walk anywhere in my shop, I'm literally walking no more than 10 feet away from a dog if it's ever left on my table without me being at my table. I might step to Billy's table, which is literally 3 feet away, or the front desk, which is less than 10 feet away. But if I ever do that, I have a dog with a rear loop. We've discussed rear loopage before in another blog post, but I'm going to reiterate it here just because I think it's critically important. With rear loops, I like wide ones. And it's going to have to be longer than your neck loop or it won't work, right? Duh, because it's got to go around the middle of the dog. And Fifi has a nice little waist, so we're proud of her for that. Her weight's under control. But anyway, some of the tubby ones, not quite so much. What I do, sorry, Fifi. Let me lower this down so you can see what I'm talking about now. Is I will take my rear loop, which this is way too long for Fifi, but you can get the idea here. Hook it to the groomer's helper loop extender and then pull tight. Even if this isn't tight, even if it's just on them loosely, if they go to jump, they're going to come right back on the table. They're not going to get out of this. She swings right back on. She can't go anywhere. She's going to swing. She's not going to be able to jump off. And because my table is so much heavier than she is, it's not going to go anywhere. But again, I'm never further than 5-10 feet away at the most. And even then, if I don't know the dog, I'm not taking a chance. I have a cage bank immediately on the other side of this wall. And if I have a problem or if I have any concerns whatsoever, the dog goes up. I do not leave them alone. If I even have to walk to Billy's table or to across the room, which this room is no bigger than 10 by 12. I mean, this is a small grooming room. Yeah, it might be 12 by 12, but it's really a small grooming room. It's really tight to put 3 tables in here, and we keep 3 tables in here. At any rate, I digress. If I have a large dog on my table and I have to walk away, table goes all the way to the floor. Because then if for some reason they do fall or step off, and I mean, I'm talking even if I just have to walk to, like I said, Billy's table, which if I could turn this, I would, but it's literally 2 feet away from my table. I mean, from here to the middle of his table is maybe 4 steps. I lower my table all the way, which I can't do right now because the trash can's in the way. Whoops. But if I lower it all the way, you're not going to be able to see what I'm doing. But if I lower it all the way, they can't go anywhere because they're going to be literally, well, let's see, maybe 13 inches off the floor. So they step off, their back feet are going to be on the floor. They're not going to hang themselves. They're not going to pull the table over from that point either. It's too well balanced. They're not going to be able to do it. By the way, love an electric table. Could never go back to hydraulic. And I worked on a stationary table at Christmas. I don't know how anybody does it. Kudos to those of you who do. Try to get yourself an electric table ASAP. My back hurt. My arms were sore. My shoulders were stiff. My neck was killing me. And I never felt comfortable. I guess I've gotten spoiled using an electric table, but I don't seriously know how anybody uses one of those folding stationary tables. It's one of the reasons why I guess a lot of us hurt all the time. I hurt all the time because I have fibromyalgia and I have arthritis. But for those of you who don't have all of those health problems, your table could be causing some of your problems. So look into getting even if it's a used or a cheaper table, it will save your back, save your shoulders, save you time and energy in the long run. But I digress. We also don't like to leave open shears on our tables because dogs could step on them. And I have a wickedly bad habit of, if I've used it today, it's on my table. Not long ago, Billy came in one morning and came past my table to get to his and turned to my table and just died laughing because I had left everything on my table from the night before. There were 4 cordless phones, my cell phone, at least 3 brushes, 4 different clippers because I had used 4 different clippers that day, every Snap-on comb I had used, 2 or 3 combs, and he looked at me and said, "Where are you going to put the dog?" Yeah, it took me 5 minutes to put everything away that was on my table. So, for safety's sake, try to keep your table cleared off and your equipment put away. I know I'm preaching to the choir on that one, but try. I will try if you will try. How's that? A New Year's resolution? No stuff on the table. If you have to put stuff on the table, try to remember to put it away, or at least keep it out of the way of the dogs. Because remember, Fifi can only go so far. Fifi can only go here or here. She can't go sideways. So keep it off to the corners of the table to keep them away from getting there. Keep them from getting there. Double arms are critical, in my opinion, if you're going to do large dogs. Anything over a Cocker Spaniel size should be double armed with a rear loop. That's a table safety feature. But you also, when you're buying a table, you want to look at what the tabletop itself is made out of. If the tabletop is made out of particle board, you don't want it. Ask questions. If they say it's made out of 1/2-inch plywood, you probably don't want it. My tabletop is made out of 3/4-inch marine grade plywood. It's not going to break. You also want to look at how your clamps are made. The small, cheap clamps, like most of us have, I have some of them. I'm looking at one on my folding table across this way from me here. Will break a tabletop if a dog jerks on it and snatches. This one is built into the frame of the table, which is really nice. One of the ones in the back room has a swinging arm, which the Ultralift arms lock into place. So that's really nice because, again, it's not on your tabletop. Your tabletop's not going to break if a big dog bails on it. But if you're going to get a clamp in an arm, get the widest clamp you can get. And right now, I think Groomer's Helper makes some of the top clamps in the world. They are wide, they are thick, they have 3 or 4 screws on the bottom. I'm not sure, I can't remember. The one on Billy's table has 3. Hello, I'm out of focus. I don't like that. There we go, that's better. The one on Billy's table has 3. That disperses the pressure against a larger area on your table. So if a dog pulls it, it's not going to take that one little screw and that one little 2 square inch area and snap your tabletop. It's going to disperse it over a larger area, and the larger area of your wooden tabletop is stronger. But if you can get a tabletop with an arm that's not even attached to your table, like mine, then that's even safer for your tabletop. Don't ever use a damaged tabletop. It's not structurally safe. They can split down the middle at any time if they have been splintered. You don't want to do that. My portable table is made by Hanvey Specialty Engineering. It's probably 15 years old. The tabletop looks brand new. Because it's, again, 3/4 inch marine grade plywood with a really nice urethane top on it. Can't really think of anything else to go along with table safety right this second. I'm sure I'll think of some other things to put in the blog post. But remember, never walk away from a dog. Never leave a dog unattended. Make sure your tabletop is a strong one. Make sure your table base is a heavy one. Make sure that it's a stable table. If you don't get a stable table, then you're wasting your time. It's probably going to be the best investment you can ever make in your shop, aside from maybe your shears, your table. If you have to replace it every couple of years, or if it hurts a dog, then it's not worth anything. You're much better off if all you can do is buy a good table, buy a good table. Your body will thank you. Fifi will thank you. And I guarantee you, you'll be a lot happier with a better table and only having to buy it once than a cheaper table that you have to replace 3 or 4 or 5 times over the life of your career. I don't get paid to speak for Ultralift. I don't get paid to speak for the Groomer's Helper. These are just things that I know work well, are worth the money, are valuable to our careers. I don't get paid by anybody except my dog clients. And Fifi's mom stinks at paying her bill. I can't tell you how much Fifi and Coco's mom owes me right now. Probably never going to get paid. I'm going to go home now and dwell on the fact that she has 19 dogs and she never pays her bill. Have a great day, everybody. Enjoy being safe in your salons, because if you're not going to take your own safety seriously, nobody else will either. Now, can I reach over here and turn this off? What are you doing, Fifi? She won't talk to me. Bye, y'all.